Casey, we'll let you hop off, and Sean, let's chat, dude.
Cool. I'll leave you guys to it. Have fun.
Awesome. Thanks, brother. All right, guys. So what is going on? Apologies for we're running a little bit late. Had some technical difficulties on our side, but you have Startup Sharks founder Terrence here live with Shawn Hill of NiceJob. I've done a bit of promoting in the group already, so some of you guys should already know we're going to be talking a little bit about reputation management. Reputation management is just something that I have realized has been, so crucial to, the success and failures that I have seen in my business, right? The power of word of mouth, of referral marketing. It's going to be super important for you in the beginning. To not only get feedback from your customers and figure out the best ways to help them solve problems, but then also to figure out the ways for you to improve, to be a better, business owner, and ideally, continue to, figure out new ways to add value. So that was a lot. Apologies for the mouthful. How's everybody doing? Sean, how are you, dude? How's your day going?
I'm doing great, my man. I'm actually over here on the East Coast. So we got some wind, we got some rain, but the good news about wind and rain is it allows you to really focus on your grind and get after it. So sometimes when it's bad weather, it can be good business sometimes if you got the right mindset. So that's what we're taking
Absolutely.
advantage of as we end the week here.
That's awesome, man. Where on the East Coast are you based?
So I'm just outside of Philadelphia. Nice Job's actually based out of Vancouver, British Columbia in Canada.
Uh huh.
So I'm on the opposite coast. I'll be headed that way probably next couple months or so.
Oh, rad.
But for right now, Philly's where I call home. It's where I grew up, and I'm happy to be here for now.
So would I be correct in assuming that you're an Eagles fan?
Yeah, I'm not a big NFL guy in
Okay.
general. That's a team I grew up rooting for, and I always drop a 41-33 whenever I can.
All right. What do you have any sports? What Philly sports are you big on?
I'm a big hockey guy, so the Philadelphia Flyers is someone I was really, ingrained with. I'm definitely trusting the process with the Sixers, even though it's struggling a bit now.
Oh,
But
Struggle City.
yeah, and then I kind of do it all. Football's kind of low on the rank.
Okay.
I got to rugby a couple years ago, and that kind of took it. It's a quicker sport, it's tougher sport, things like that. So
Lots of
NFL
missing.
kind of fell off the wayside. But if you're in Philadelphia and you're not saying "Go Birds," and you're kind of an outcast.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I definitely follow enough, but hockey and baseball are probably my one two.
Okay, all right. I was gonna say rugby and hockey. You seem to like the sports that have no teeth involved.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice ones here. You can see some pretty ones put back in. But oddly enough, I grew up playing hockey, but not rugby, because my mom said I could only play one sport that could break my face at a
Mm.
time. So I chose hockey, because at least from time to time I would have a mask in front of me.
Yeah. Well, you've got your face, and we're broadcasting in our group now. So thank you to your mom. I'm sure that and you know what? Actually, if we really want to be brass tacks about it, I mean, like, I think nothing introduces you better than your face and your smile and the energy that you bring into a room, right? And if you think about like the way that you deal and interact with customers, sometimes you're not having the best day, right? But if you're not doing if your face isn't representing, what your customer needs or wants to hear, you're probably doing yourself a little bit of a disservice, huh?
Yeah, it's also, like when you go, if you go to like your own birthday party or something like that, everyone's so excited to see you. And sometimes if you're doing a service for someone, they're very excited to see you. So
Sure.
if you kind of come in a little bit too ho-hum, it really takes the customer experience and starts off on a bad foot. We always talk about being transparent in your business as well. But, when you first make that contact, the first couple impressions, matching that energy, having that excited sort of energy, and then you build that relationship, then it's very easy to drop in, like, hey, actually got a flat tire earlier.
Sure.
People will empathize with you. But if you kind of come in and you're not really bringing any energy, you're really just starting off on a level that's really hard to kind of build up from, because the last thing you want to do as an entrepreneur, no matter what your business is be thought of as purely just a service or just something that's
Mm.
happening. You want to be a living ecosystem. You want to be a living person in that regard. And sometimes, just a smile, a hello, a pleasantry, just to kick things off on the right bat. Then once they're on their team, they'll identify you instantly. So
Yeah.
you're right on, man. It's you got to start bringing your energy into the room, even when you don't have it. That's the small thing you have to do each and every time.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is the little things, right? And sometimes we were talking a little bit before we went live. I find myself as a solopreneur trying to, do everything and be everything, which, kind of takes away from the customer experience in and of itself, right? Because I can't be everything to, the customer, right? So it's like really figuring out the things that I can do really well and bringing that like energy that, will allow me to offer the best version of myself. And the things that I'm not so good at, well, that's what an opportunity for me to like figure out ways to get help, right?
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, you'll along the way you'll find where your challenges will be, and then you'll be able to have some successes where you feel comfortable in. But ultimately, that's what we talk about. Like in the end, you could be the biggest brand out there. There's individuals behind it.
sure.
So if you're just the individual right now and you're not the brand yet, then you might have a little bit of a leg up. Sometimes as a brand, it's really hard to show individuality, and it's really hard to put a human sort of feel on it. So if you're on the come up right now,
Yeah,
that's actually an advantage for you. So
that's
just
awesome.
be you, be the best you can be.
That's awesome. Well, I want we've got a script and we've got time, so I want to kind of keep us, I want to progress this as best as possible, but I do want to allow for organic conversation because I think that there's just going to be some stuff that we're going to be able to glean just from talking. Like you've already blown my mind in the 5.5 minutes that we've been talking. So, so talk to us a little bit more about, we're talking all this stuff regarding, reputation management, growing your business, knowing who you are. Talk to us, give us a little bit more insight into Shawn, your role over at NiceJob, who NiceJob is, and, maybe why you decided to align yourself with this brand that, obviously we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, so I will say my background actually comes from the world of sports. I actually worked for the Philadelphia Flyers,
Oh,
as I
wow.
mentioned, had my heart. But in that sort of industry, the sports industry, it's such a great grind, and it's nonstop action, and it's very much you do something for a day of a game. Then once that game's over, you never think about it again. So ultimately, while there's a ton of great highs, there's also some pretty lows as well. The great thing about sports is that it can bring so much joy to people. Like even a last place team can give a nice family a night out or something like that.
Sure.
However, internally when you're working on it, sometimes you get lost in the shuffle. So a lot of the work that I would do, a lot of my colleagues would do, would just come off as what the Philadelphia Flyers have done. So it's really hard, as I talked about, that big branding, that individuality. For me, I ended up in a situation where I was kind of put where they leveraged my reputation to kind of save their own. And that's when it really kind of clicked on me that, in the end, your reputation is what kind of moves you along in life. It's not always going to maybe serve you the best, but if you're really focused on it and you're really paying attention to it. And how it worked for me as the individual was, people might have been saying things about me that weren't true. So what is true? How can I make sure that that's what I'm doing every day? Not listening to the outside in the negative sort of way, getting constructive feedback, being receptive to my audience.
Mm,
So when I was looking to kind of change up my dream, I was looking for a company solely based on the company values, the company culture.
mm,
Not saying I was going to do like any old thing. I knew I had some skill sets that I could offer to certain positions. So with NiceJob, when I looked at the company more so than what they did, it all started to align.
sure.
There's a great story that I love to tell, and people have seen me on other live streams and I've heard it before. But in the NiceJob interview process, there's a question there, which to paraphrase a bit, is if money was no option, what would you do? You didn't have to worry about money. And if you don't say within that question that you would help other people, you don't progress in the interview.
Sure.
It's
Wow.
not going to get you a job at NiceJob. So now I'm surrounded by colleagues that all want to help other people. That's what we're driven to do. And we have so many different, expertise. We come from different backgrounds, but we're able to put it out. And so for NiceJob, taking from the company culture and going into what our mission is, getting, great companies the reputation they deserve. Because if you're going out there day to day on your grind, making it happen, you deserve to have the ability to benefit from that.
Sure.
And so for us, we have a lot of home service professionals. It's kind of the bulk of our community right now. And there are the best painters, the best window cleaners, the best hardscapers, the best at what they do. It's a little bit asking above and beyond for them to be the absolute best marketers. So what we
Sure.
at NiceJob want to do is give them something that's easy to use, that is effective, that allows them to go out there and serve their communities being the best they can and being able to reap some of the benefits through getting more customer reviews, that higher ranking when they see themselves on Google, using those reviews as word of mouth marketing going through digital. I mean, you go back through history, everyone's always telling a friend about a great experience they had, whether
Right.
it's restaurant, whether it's service, or even just like, Terrence talking to you, and I go back like, hey, it's a cool dude. I really enjoyed it. That's word of mouth right there. So NiceJob is a little bit of word of mouth going digital, but just hyper-focused to really help you take your reputation to a real marketable asset.
Yeah. So let me reverse engineer that response because you said some really great things. So it sounds like, when you're looking to align yourself with, your next career kind of position, the culture and the values were going to be super important to you, right? And so once you had kind of identified that there were some shared values in NiceJob, which kind of primarily rooted itself in helping others, it was kind of a no-brainer for you. You decided to join the company. Um, Now, I think some other things that you said that were really great, and I want to just kind of separate some things out. You said you guys focus a lot on like home services businesses, which I think is fantastic. I love small business. I love entrepreneurs. I think that I have two businesses. I have two brands, Startup Sharks and then Food Tribe, and both of those brands are all about serving, individuals who don't normally get the type of recognition that they deserve, right? And so it's like, how do we put a digital profile to what's taking place offline? Um, Again, reputation management is super important, and I don't think that a lot of small business owners understand exactly what that means. In terms of matching what's happening offline in terms of delivering value to what their customers are actually saying and how that will affect their business long term. So can you maybe talk to us a little bit about what that experience is in terms of just like being able to match the conversion that's taking place, the sale to what customers are saying and how that what will affect their business later?
Yeah, so I think this, hopefully I answer your question kind of correctly here, but the way that we would see reputation management, and I'll break it down to almost the simple, like, narrative sort of level.
Okay.
Is, when you hear about something, 90% of the people, I think a recent study says, are going to research online. Now, some of that, it's starting to be a growing trend, is direct research. And what I mean by that is they're not necessarily going to Google anymore. Still having, but going to Google and searching just like landscaper. They're probably hearing about something. They're seeing an advertisement. They're getting a bit of your name, and they're going to look for you directly. Now, what is your presence once that is there? And so when they find you directly, they want to see examples of your work, but they want to know about your company. But they also want that social proof, that social validation. The reason that we're in the broadcast era, that everyone has, a camera on their cell phone, and there's the influencer marketing, and things like Instagram, a very personality-based platform. The reason all these exist is that it's connecting our world even closer, but it's always social validation. Now,
Sure.
Some people are driven by it. Some people that don't get the social validation really are upset. Other people care less, and almost to the point where they want to kind of flaunt that they care less. So how it relates back to home service professionals is most customers are less likely to look up how to do it, more so who is doing it. And so what I mean is, there's great YouTube videos of DIY of painting your own house. But do you know why painters still exist? Because people would rather have professionals do it once. But then it's a little bit of that sort of status system. I don't know, Terrence, if you had this, but my mom had a room in the house that we weren't allowed into. That was her status room because she got to that level where she had, the middle class home, and we had the room that we just never went in there. Like maybe on a holiday, we get out the nice plates and go in that. It was a status sort of thing. So people like being able to hire home service professionals because I don't have to cut my own lawn. I don't have to paint my own house. I don't have to do all that. But that's such an inner circle. They're inviting someone into their home. They're inviting someone into their world. They're creating a relationship. So going back to why reputation management is so important is there's so many ways with the broadcast era to show off your skills. So people are starting to make the determination not based on how the photo looks, but what is truly the reputation, the culture, the mantra, the values behind a business. When you see sort of the big chain restaurants starting to get beat by the smaller mom and pops again, it's because people want some care and love within their food.
Right.
And that goes across all sort of, services and things like that. So,
Yeah.
And when people look at just reputation as a word of mouth, as a way of advertising, which it definitely is, it needs to look more so as brand building, trust building, and relationship building, because ultimately that's where success truly lies. people can know all about you. The reason our slogan is great companies, reputation they deserve, is that if you're a bad company, we're going to generate customer reviews for you. And, that's about it. People are going to tell you what you need to know. So if you're a great company, you can take advantage of that. If you're not a great company, well, you can learn along the way, get feedback, and improve. But ultimately, it comes down to how you're doing it and how you can represent to the public the way you do you.
Totally. And that is, you're giving us like a lot of jewels that I think are fantastic. In terms of brand and culture, again, I think that is, again, like that is what the product is, right? Like people are buying, they have a million options out there. They are truly buying from you because they like you, right? And so, but because we are in this broadcast era, if they're having a poor experience, just as much as they want to, talk about how good you are, there might be some opportunities to talk about how bad you are, right? So it's really trying to figure out a way to live between those two worlds, because I don't necessarily think, and you tell me if I'm wrong, I don't think that criticism in and of itself is bad, right? If you're getting some reviews from people and it's helping you to become a better business, like that's not a bad thing, right?
Well, that's why when I talk about reputation is the better your reputation or the more that you put yourself out there as someone that is receptive to feedback, you will potentially get negative feedback when things go wrong. But it's less likely to be angry if you're kind of upfront. The reason that people end up tweeting about airlines when they're having a bad experience on a flight is that they feel that there's no face they can talk to. It's actually going to make a difference. They feel like they're yelling into the ether, so they yell as loud as possibly can on a Twitter account, on a Facebook page. But a lot of times we'll see angry reviews. What it comes down to is what we talked about a bit earlier. It's that customer service element. Is they don't think the person's going to listen, or they're thinking that they're too stuck up. I thought he wasn't quite doing it correctly, but he kind of like blew me off, and I didn't like the way he did it because I thought I knew beforehand.
Right.
Where the truth in that is, whether it's negative feedback is unwarranted or whether it's a lack of, education on the consumer, or if it's completely warranted, it was a truly bad performance. In the end, I feel like you're less likely to see someone go on and one-star you and completely, try to, lambaste you there. If you are the type of person that came in and says, hey, I want to know if you think I did a great job. The reason I say ask for as many customer reviews as possible is that it's showing yourself as someone that wants to improve.
Totally.
A lot of people will read, it's something I call it the top 4, bottom 4. Because people look for the 4 best reviews and look for the 4 worst reviews. Well, if you have no bad reviews whatsoever, more than likely what clicks in a consumer's head is that you've done something like review gating, or you're kind of getting rid of old reviews, or you're just not asking angry clients. You're not giving them a way to respond to you.
Wow.
But if I see 4 bad reviews that are responded with, an apology, an offer to try to make things right, to make things kosher, or if it's even this bad review said we were late, we weren't punctual. If I don't see another lateness complaint, it shows that they made a mistake, they've improved it, they've changed their steps through it.
Sure.
So, you always want to be open to feedback,
Absolutely.
And the more that you that transparency and you really relate to the people that you are serving, or that you're working with. I always hate saying the word serving. It's kind of happens with home service,
Sure.
but it's a partnership.
Sure.
You're taking my expertise and go in. If I'm a painter and I go paint an accountant's home, I might use him for my taxes. That's just, a swap of expertise there. So it's building that trust. That's what reputation really comes down to.
Yeah.
And the better that you kind of show yourself as an entrepreneur, as someone that's looking to improve, get better, and serve their community, you're going to find out that even negative feedback always falls in that level of constructive. And hey, there's always going to be the one person that's having a bad day, that goes a completely biased negative review. My response to that is have faith in people. Everyone could tell when someone's just being overly embellishing and angry.
Totally.
When they actually have a complaint.
So, and I agree with you, man. And I'm always trying to convey, some of my clients, whether it's for Food Tribe and, some of the restaurant and food brands that I work with, or some of the side hustlers here, at Startup Sharks, just about the importance of getting better and learning how to improve, right? That is the sooner that you can kind of get away from that sensitivity, and not take things quite so personally and just see things as an opportunity to improve, you're going to again, like separate yourself away from the competition, in my opinion. That being said, people do have bad days and will go online and land blast you, right? And I read this really interesting stat. I think it's this is a really old Yelp study. I'm sure you've heard of it, but it said like 16% of fake restaurant or online reviews are fake, and then it's like one bad review can cost you 30 customers. So it's is that the right stat or?
So the 16% is fake is definitely the right stat.
Okay.
I think the one would cost you the 30 customers is not accurate because it doesn't really take in business size,
Okay.
things like, like we're obviously we don't want anyone to have to get a negative review, but the negative ranking versus what the review actually says is two completely separate things.
Okay.
A lot of times I think you'll see people that put 1 star, but they have a 3-star complaint. And unfortunately, you have to have a ranking system. You have to give the consumer the ability to choose their rank. But ultimately, bad reviews will start to tank your business if, one, you're not getting enough reviews to show off the good things you're doing. I mean, that's why at NiceJob, the way our campaigns work is to try to get you 2 to 3 times more reviews, because instead of having 1 bad review in 5, you'll have 1 bad review in 20.
Right.
19 V1 is a lot different than 9 V1.
Right.
And that's good, or 4v1, whatever that would be. So, but the fake review part is that is slowly becoming, a little obsolete as Google and a couple of those other platforms put in better safeguards to prevent from fake reviews. But that's where responding to reviews, which is something every business owner at any level should do, is because it then makes it a conversation and not just a statement.
Sure.
Like when they show political ads on TV, it's supposed to be, fair time. Both sides gets a chance. So if someone responds to you or gives you a review, positive or negative, a lot of people don't respond to the positive reviews. You actually should as well. That gives you a chance to kind of put yourself into it and let the consumer decide.
Yeah, that's fantastic, Shawn. Thank you for that insight, man. Let me, we've only got about 10 more minutes. So I want to kind of power us through. I think we've gotten through a lot of these questions, but let me ask you, what has been your biggest customer success story or one that you've noticed, while at NiceJob, maybe someone using the software for the first time and, it just being really impactful on their business?
It's funny. When I came on to NiceJob, you start to learn a little bit about the community that you serve, a couple of the clients we have. And I hear all the time, I know it doesn't like I'm skirting, I'll give it a specific example, but we hear people talk about, my closest competitor and I were kind of neck and neck, and now I have 100 reviews and they only have 20.
Wow.
And that sort of separation, when you look at, like, when you search in Google and you see that map 3-pack there, if your rating's a 4.9 versus a 4.7, but the 4.7 has 500 reviews and the 4.9 only has a couple, well, then you're trying to figure out what the difference is. What does 0.2 really mean? More than likely, we see it goes to that 4.7 business that has way more reviews. It's more social validation, more social proof, and even shows a little bit of longevity. But as for the big successes, there's plenty of people we've heard about. Before I joined NiceJob, I hear their stories of, 2 years ago, they were just starting from scratch. And they just happened to get themselves a website from NiceJob, which helps, convert their visitors into leads and sales. And then they get the review platform, which every time they're working a job, they're now netting, 2 to 3 times more reviews than they would if they didn't have anything. And that exponential growth they get, one of the best stories I've heard was I was at a conference recently, and a guy named Brian got an award for finally being able to not be on the truck anymore. He was now running his business without having to hop on a truck and go out and do the job.
Wow.
He had successfully grown to the fact where he's now spending more time with his family. He's taking what they call the first paid vacation of his business career, where he can go on vacation and he's not spiting himself, and he's no longer on the truck. Yeah. And, that's such an amazing feeling when we can be, I say a part of that, but again, he's a great company. He's a great entrepreneur, and he goes out there and gets it. So those success stories I love, because no matter where they are in their business, whether they're getting off the truck because they've grown so big, or they're finally able to hire their first employee, or finally able to get like a bigger brick and mortar office space. We hear so many customer success stories along the way because we're able to integrate and grow along with them. Yeah,
that's fantastic, man. I always tell the customers that I work with, not serve, that I work with, that Basically, we've got these three resources that we're all competing over, which are time, money, and energy, right? And typically you can have two of the three at any given time. So just be really smart about how you're trading your resources. And that's where I think, knowing your why, your center, right, is super important. Because if you have, and our meeting's going to end here in a minute. But if you have your why, if you have your center, well, then all of a sudden you have an opportunity to figure out, well, what's the best way for me to trade those resources in order to kind of get to that long-term vision, right?
Absolutely. And that's why we described NiceJob, or we designed NiceJob to not cost you a bunch of money, to save you a ton of time, and hopefully give you enough of an emotional boost that's going to fuel your energy as well. So we're trying as best we can to help you with all three.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, Shawn, I think that's all that I've got, man. I want to open this up. I don't know if we have anybody in the group streaming right now, but I do at least want to give us a minute for any questions. Is there anything burning that you want to maybe give our community before we let you get out of here?
Well, the one thing I want to say, with us here at NiceJob is we don't have any contracts on our service, and that's not just a buzz line. The main reason is we want to be a tool when you are ready to use us. So if you have any questions about us at all, check out our website, go visit us, but also feel free to drop us messages, whether it's in the blue chat bubble, go ahead and mention Startup Shark in there, so that's where you heard us from, or just try it out. Now, we have a 14-day free trial. We'd love to extend it to anyone that's seen the live stream here. You send us a message, we'll extend it out an extra 2 more weeks. That's pretty much a full month of being able to use our review product and learn what it can do for your business. But, we're a collection, I said early on, of experts that all came together to work in one company. So, if you want, your website audited to see what's the best for your business right now. If you want to just, get some marketing, general advice, things like that, find us on Facebook, send us some messages. We always want to build a community first and serve second.
That's awesome, man. And I think you said it again, but just just drop a couple ways for the Startup Sharks community to get in touch with you and the NiceJob team again, please.
Yeah, so go to get.nicejob.co, and on there you can see the Start Free button, so it'll start your 14-day trial. But then there's a little blue chat bubble down in there. Just say hello to us, mention Startup Shark, just say that in there, say that's where you heard about NiceJob.
Awesome.
And myself or my coworker Curtis, or my colleague Curtis, we'll go ahead and extend that trial for you to make sure you get a full month. But then you also can reach out to us if you mention down in the comments in the chat. I'm going to look through and try to touch base with everybody there, through Facebook or wherever. Just find a way to get in touch with us. You can email me directly, Shawn@nicejob.co, spelled correctly, SHAWN. And yeah, we'll get you set up and get you ready to go. We really, like I said, we're community driven in that regard. So
awesome.
Let's chat and help you guys out.
Awesome, man. And I think you said that you would do it before, but if you guys have any questions for Shawn after, be sure to drop them in the comment section. I think that he said he's going to join the group, so we'll try to get some responses there, or otherwise I can pass them along. But I hope that you guys just really walked away with understanding some things that we've been talking about, for the past year and a half that this group has been online, right? Knowing your why, knowing your center is super important, because once you understand like your culture and your values, well, then all of a sudden you can figure out who it is that you're serving and who you're helping. And what you're doing is communicating, right? You're communicating a message. And the great part about having a conversation with the people that you're serving is that they give you new information to, look at things differently and to update your values and your culture. So reputation management is really an opportunity for you to develop and understand who you are as a small business owner, and to quite literally validate how good of a job you're doing, serving your customers. So we talked about trading time, money, and energy. I have committed this year to creating, and our theme word for this year is enduring. So in order to endure, I want to get my time, money, and energy back, which is why I'm putting my stamp of approval on NiceJob. I don't have the resources right now to go out there and land new clients, which is why I've been looking for partners to help me to do this, right? To communicate what I do and why I do it well, and for figuring out some different ways to grow my business this year, right? So I hope that you guys are able to have gotten some ideas today on some ways to win back your time, your energy, and your money. But just want to say thank you so much to Shawn and the NiceJob team, and can't wait to see where this relationship goes. Hopefully, this is just the beginning of something beautiful.
Yeah, and Terrence, thank you as well for allowing us to, join your community. As much as we would love to, work with some people and hopefully we're the right fit for them, we love joining new communities and being able to share knowledge. So we can't wait to learn from your group as much as hopefully we can provide.
Awesome, Shawn. Well, thank you so much for your time, guys. Drop your questions below and connect with Shawn, and I'll give you details on how to get that freebie, all right? Peace and love, guys. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you guys at 2 p.m. today for our other interview. Take care, Shawn.